My wife has been there for me every step of the way, and she is now standing beside me in each and every county as we take this campaign forward in the 29th Congressional District, and to her I personally offer my thanks. You know, my home is in the 29th Congressional District, in those green rolling hills that Lisa so eloquently spoke of. The district stretches from western Cattaraugus County, very near Lake Erie, all the way north to the suburbs of Rochester and Pittsford, Henrietta and Victor, south again and east to Elmira, the home of Mark Twain. And those rolling hills, beautiful beyond description, fall into the freshwater 500-foot depths of the Finger Lakes, on whose shores some of the finest wines, many of which you're sampling tonight, are grown. My home is a home of indescribable beauty, and the 635,000 people who live there have a deep love of their land and their future. My home is something worth fighting for. Have no doubt about it, and let's make it very clear to everyone that we are in the fight of our lives. I'm running for Congress because the families of the 29th are being denied their very futures. Everywhere you travel in my district, you see it. You see it in the closed factories, shuttered because of a policy in economics that outsources jobs. You see it in closed hospitals because costs are overcoming administrators' ability to supply true health care and make it more accessible and not less accessible. You see it in property taxes through the roof, astronomically through the roof, because the top 1% of the wealthy and rich in this nation have received massive tax cuts at the cost of the future of working families. That's not my idea of protecting and defending. And our government's promise to its people is to protect and defend. That's not my idea of the common good. And the common good is our Constitution's promise of equal opportunity and fairness to all Americans. There have already been too many broken promises to the families of the 29th Congressional District, and for a government to govern and succeed, it must first be trusted and believed. I'm running because my home is worth fighting for. Throughout most of my adult life, I was privileged to wear the uniform of the United States Navy. It was our mission on the oceans and in the skies and on the shores of the world to protect and defend our nation, her people, their way of life, and their values. And we did, 7 days a week, 24 hours a day, and thank God for the men and women who continue that tradition today around the clock all over the globe. We served the highest authority in this country, and it was not an elected official. We swore an oath as uniformed members of the armed services to the Constitution of the United States of America. And that Constitution has as a central theme the common good of the American people. It has as a central theme the common good of the people of the 29th Congressional District. It was a call to service then that could not be ignored. And today, as the futures of the families of the 29th Congressional District are ever more at greater risk, it is a call to service that must not be ignored. The assault on working families continues and increases every day of every week, and we must stop it in its tracks now. You know, I can walk 3 miles in any direction from my front yard and stop in front of a shuttered factory that only 2 years ago supplied living wages to working families. I can walk another 3 blocks and stop in front of an abandoned family farm that for generations was the backbone of the economy of Western New York State. These jobs have been encouraged to be outsourced under a failed economic policy that does nothing to address the survivors, the working families who are left behind. They are my neighbors, and we must take action now. My opponent promised to bring 100,000 jobs to the 29th Congressional District. He promised 100,000 new opportunities. It's a promise that's already been broken 5 months into his incumbency. His support for outsourcing jobs overseas flies in the very face of what he said 6 months ago. It's another broken promise, and the families of the 29th Congressional District reject this business as usual. It is time now to build in America jobs for Americans. It is time to build jobs for the people of the 29th Congressional District in the 29th Congressional District. It's time to make a promise to the people of Western New York State that we can finally keep. When I stood in front of my troops in uniform, my first and my only concern was to ensure their safety, their education and training, and their mission accomplishment. In short, my job was to focus on their future. Leadership is all about the future. It's not about lockstep partisan politics and jumping through hoops every time Karl Rove and Tom DeLay snap their fingers. That's not leadership. Randy Cool voted against ensuring access to health care for veterans in this nation, and then 2 days later he turned around again and he voted to deny returning Iraqi veterans adequate medical care, and that will not stand. He voted against the very futures of the men and women whose lives are on the line for us every day. And as they come home, the future of these men and women is worth fighting for, because my home is worth fighting for. I have no doubt about it. I'm up to the task. We're going to carry this fight to every VFW, every American Legion, every Elks Club, every farm, every home, every Rotary in the district. But I can't do it myself without your help. Your financial support is what's going to return to the House of Representatives a member so dedicated to the goals of fiscal responsibility, common sense, and results-based government that I will be able to work with all members of Congress, regardless of party, to protect our veterans, to build a future for my district, and to contribute to the betterment of this nation. It can only happen with your support, and I thank you today for stepping up and so generously giving of your time and your resources to launch us on this journey. President Kennedy told us in very clear words that the torch had been passed to a new generation. And now in my home, that torch is burning dimly, and it's in danger of going out. It is time again for a new generation to stand and take responsibility and be held accountable for rekindling that torch of hope and opportunity, and then carry it into the future. Our hearts are strong. Our resolve and commitment is total. And in our hands, we carry the torch that will light the future of the 29th Congressional District as we fight for the families who will build a better tomorrow for their children and their grandchildren. God bless you all. God bless this great nation of ours, and thank you for being here tonight.